It's time for York County Conversation, your weekly dive into the people and businesses shaping our community. With the Sanford Springvale Chamber of Commerce, we're proud to share stories behind the storefronts and the voices behind York County's growth. Together, we're building a stronger local economy, one conversation at a time. This is York County Conversations.
It's another edition of York County Conversations. My name is Andy Austin, host of York County's Morning Show with Carrie Quater, who is the director of all things over at the Sanford Springvale Chamber of Commerce. And, you know, every single episode we bring in someone, whether they've been a business owner for 5 months, 5 years, 25 years. Maybe they've done their vocation for 24 years and they've never done a radio interview, which blows my mind. But we have the case today. Carrie, who do we have on the program?
Today we have Gina Sawtelle, who is from Above and Beyond Catering. And we're really excited to have her on today. She actually has what we consider fairly new space up on the ridge. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and how things are going.
Well, welcome to the program, Gina. So how did you get up on the ridge? Let's just start right there.
All right. Well, we got up on the ridge. We used to be at the town club in downtown Sanford, actually right across the street from here. And we were there for 12 years. Operated many events and in and off-site catering. We started to evolve our business. A lot of barns were popping up around the area, so we were going for weddings here and there. And being up on the 4th floor of the town club, although it was wonderful and we were on the top of the town, it was very hard to execute a wedding with all of the equipment we bring to go up and down that elevator.
Can you tell me a little bit about that elevator? Is it haunted?
There's a no. I do not.
Was it one of those ones that goes like?
No, but at the end of our tenure there, the elevator was giving us a hard time. So that was one of the reasons. So we started looking for another location to run simultaneously with the town club, and I wanted something on what I kept saying on street level and easy to operate out of, having our own kitchen there. So when we were going to our weddings off-site, we would operate out of that second location. So we found this place. We looked everywhere. We looked out of Sanford, in Sanford. We looked everywhere. And finally, we found this little gem up on Shaw's Ridge, little farmhouse. It was so run down in such a mess, but I saw such vision and such potential. So we purchased it in December of 17, and it has evolved every year since our purchase. And then when COVID hit us in 2020, we had to make the decision to move out of our beloved town club. Mm-hmm. And thank goodness we had our place on the ridge, because we were still able to operate in a different capacity, what COVID threw at us, but we were still able to operate. So
how did you, because you couldn't have anybody in your town club, right?
No, we lost everything that year. Every event canceled, and there was just no way we could stay. It was a very expensive lease. It's an old building.
I love it.
It's a gem. I'm hoping it revitalizes and comes back.
Because when you guys did that, you brought so much class to the area.
Thank you.
I loved going up there.
Thank you.
I felt like I was I was going to make a Shining reference with the elevator a few minutes ago, but then I realized that probably wasn't bad business. However, I felt like I was in the gold room, but the part where there aren't skeletons, you know what I mean? The really nice part in The Shining, where you go there and you just feel like you're in the 20s, and you just felt like it was just you could soak in the history.
It was epic. It was definitely. It grew us. This community grew us. And that's what I had to keep thinking about when we were looking at other properties. And it was definitely an aha moment, I guess, when we purchased the location, and when we went through COVID, we realized then that community, this community rather, supported us through COVID. We had created some other different avenues to help bring revenue in, and the community itself really supported us. So although we missed the town club, we were still very much part of the community, and they were very much part of us.
How much did you design that up there? Or
everything.
You designed that?
We did, yes.
Oh my goodness, yes. I thought it was untouched.
Well, so the farmhouse, we had to renovate just because there was holes in the ceiling. There was The roof was a mess. It was gutted out a good amount. So we went in there and just made it like a modern farmhouse look. And then we added on our commercial kitchen in the following year. And then we added on the venue currently. Last January, we finished. So
it's a beautiful venue.
Thank you.
I love seeing the pictures of how people are using the space inside and outside for photos and whatnot.
Yes.
During their special events.
Yes.
And,
it's it's a dream come true without sounding sappy. It's truly a dream that we're up there and finally operating. It took us a while to get there. We thought we were done when COVID hit us, and we're like, oh my goodness, what are we going to do now? We've lost all our events, and we might as well not build anymore. So COVID threw us back, and then, going through all the codes and the planning process through the town, or the city rather, that was hard on me. I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
So it took a little bit longer, but it actually was a blessing that it took longer, because we changed our vibe of the Ridge. It was supposed to be very barn-like and rustic, and we gave it a modern farmhouse feel. And I think it's more, attractive.
Yeah,
to,
a little bit more contemporary.
Yeah, for different clients, because they can come in and they can make it rustic if they wish, and they can make it more elevated if they wish. So, it worked out good.
Do you feel the barn thing is going to kind of just peter off in the next few years?
I don't know about it being done, because people are still getting married in ballrooms. People are still getting married at country clubs. People. It will still be busy, but will it be a buzz or the thing? I don't think so.
You got to plan for that to realize you're not going to just ride the trend,
right?
Or make yourself the trend.
Right.
So when it all dries up, you got to have something to do.
You do. Yes. Yeah.
What was that moment where you, during COVID, cancellations were coming in left and right? And how long had you been doing the business? Just a couple of years?
Oh no, we've been in business for 20. It's awful that I don't remember the beginning, but it's like 24, because we started off part-time-ish, it was more of a hobby and and then we were evolving and growing, and the hobby turned into an actual profession. So I want to say 24 years. I'm basing it on my children, how old they are.
Yeah.
So it was about 24 years that we've been in business. But when COVID hit,
you started scaling in 2017. COVID hits a couple of years later, and then all the things dry up after that major investment you have made up in there. What was that meeting like with your people that you do business with?
It was, we had our business community that still needed to do some things on their end to survive through COVID, and we were part of that a little bit. But we did lose everything. We lost all of our weddings that year, which is our major revenue source. And then we created, I was pathetic for a couple months because we were scared, not knowing what to do. I had no energy to even figure out, what do I do? It was more just coasting every day. I did crossword puzzles. I was on the couch.
When you talk about being on the couch, I'm fascinated by COVID stories and how, even though it's 6 years in the rear view, we all overcame certain things. Carrie, what were you doing in the summer of 2020?
Oh, the summer of 2020?
Yeah.
Well, I had a teenager who was very restless and wanted to see his friends. And all they had was their bikes, because they were between 8th and freshman year. And so it was a lot of trying to figure out how to let the kids have a little bit of freedom with their friends while still following the rules. I mean, as a parent, you had a lot of rules we had to follow. And what could we do? What couldn't we do to keep the kids entertained who had already been sitting home for 2 months because school shut down in March?
Right.
Right. So, it was finishing the school year as the teacher all of a sudden, or co-teacher, I guess, and then doing a whole nother school year. It was tiring. Luckily, I was a stay-at-home parent working part-time. Out of the house. So I was very, very lucky. I don't know how other parents did it without having someone at home, but it was a huge adjustment. And when we made it through the long school year, my son and I felt very victorious that we were both still friends with each other and on each other's side, because it was taxing.
Yeah,
it was taxing.
It was.
So yeah, but we made it through, and the Historical Society made it through. In fact, I will say, and I'm not sure if this was true for a lot of nonprofits, but our members at the Historical Society really stepped up that year with donations. It was almost like they wanted to make sure we knew that they were there to support us, even though we couldn't have fundraisers and we could barely have programs. We had more membership donations. People elevated their membership donations that year so much, and we all just were in shock, sort of, that this community was supporting us when we really didn't have much we could give them at the time. So, and I always wonder if other organizations felt the same thing. I have to think they did, because I think you dig your heels in and say, nope, we're making sure this stays open and stays a success.
Right.
So,
and I feel like that's how we were too. We were like, okay, after my pity period and depression period for a couple months, not really, it got old. Sitting on the couch was nice for, the first couple days when you thought it was going to be over there. There was like that 2 week period.
They said, in 2 weeks we'll
be back to normal. And I was like, okay, a little forced relaxation. That doesn't hurt anybody typically. So, but then after the 2 weeks, it was like, okay, we need to get our butt in gear and figure out how we're going to not lose our property up on the ridge, and how we're going to help the community and also help us. And it just...
And seeing the businesses pivot, and everyone have to think, okay, how can we do to-go orders, whether it was the pharmacy or we had a business in town that completely changed their whole business model so that they could do, bowls, and people could take out. But yeah, I feel like you have to have lived through COVID as a business owner to come through on the other side and be able to say, this is where things change, and being proud of the fact that you could pivot at all, because some businesses didn't make it. No, and it really it was a scary time to see like who's going to stick it out and who's not.
Right. Yeah. It was a very bizarre world back then. But
so you didn't have the comfort of, like, say, a corporate job, right? You had done this part-time for a number of years, and then you really went all in leading up to COVID, and here we are, 2020. Do you remember the day where you thought, let's do a pop-up?
I remember vaguely that day-ish, that, or that time frame where we were texting, just my main group of staff, my daytimers, I call it, and like, what can we do? Like, where we saw some of these restaurants doing to-goes, we saw some other things, and it was our distributors that helped us create the pop-up.
Oh, interesting.
We sold toilet paper, we sold flour and sugar in bulk, we sold, gloves, and so we had like a little little pop-up shop type, and then we also sold our food. So it wasn't just food. So people would come up to us, and we have a lot of elderly clients that were coming to us because they didn't want to go to Hannaford. They didn't want to go anywhere into a big space. And but yeah, it was like, I don't know if this is going to work. We don't package like we do. That's restaurant-ish to us. We're more, let's take care of 100 people. We know how to transport and package and cook for 100. We don't know how to necessarily do plates, right? So because all of our packaging changed, it was a 2-person or a 4-person meal,
right?
So there was a lot of figuring out before we went with it, and when we went with it, we were still kind of clueless. But we just said, let's wing it and do it, and here we are.
Well, we're glad you made it through.
Well, thank you. We are too. We are too, and so much has changed, and it's just good. All changes for the good.
Yeah,
truly.
I think it does. We're talking to Gina Sawtelle from the Above and Beyond Catering. When you think of that, you think weddings, those are your main things that you do. But the gathering room, holy smoke, does that look great.
It's so sweet. So, like I said initially, our location has evolved over the years. When we first moved in, we just had our kitchen, our commercial kitchen, and we built a garage for our staging when we would go off-site with our van and everything. So the venue didn't come until last year, but we've had this space since 17. And it was our place where small businesses would come for their Christmas parties. They didn't want to go to a big space. They had like under 20 people. So the gathering room has been our meeting space for couples and clients. It has been our pop-up room for when people come pick up their meals. And it changed into the gathering room, which is 22 people or under, small, intimate events for a plated meal. And whether it's a little family gathering for an anniversary party or a business holiday party, it's just another space that we offer up at the Ridge for more intimate gatherings.
Nice.
Yeah, it's just.
And how many people can you fit inside the big
The
space?
venue I have, it's 100.
Yeah.
Ish.
100-ish.
If codes are listening, it's 100. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
But we have our patio that we go outside
Yep.
and can open up the doors.
Beautiful patio.
And
Nice.
and I actually, for weddings, I like to take less than 100 because I want people to be very comfortable in our space. And there's a lot of real estate you need for certain
Right.
vendors, like DJ and a dance floor, and so that takes away from guest seating. So comfortably for a wedding, I would say 80 to 90.
Right.
But an hors d'oeuvres reception, it could be more than 100 if people are utilizing both. Like our business after hours,
Right,
sometimes
right.
we get a lot of people. Some people are outside.
Yep.
A lot of people tend to go outside.
Yeah, the
more
patio's
than,
great. It's a big
more than
patio.
inside. So you can get a little bit more. So it really depends on the type of event that we're having.
So you host the event, but do you do any of the wedding planning?
I do.
So you're the wedding planner.
So I am the wedding planner with them if they want, but they
Right.
can certainly bring in their own event planner as well. But it just is part of our package. So they get me 100% through their process and
Nice.
get me on the day of.
Suits and nuts.
fun.
How long does that take?
We could put a wedding on next weekend.
Really?
A beautiful wedding next weekend. But the wedding industry has everybody thinking that they need to book, 2 to 3 years out for their.
Really?
If you have a destination or a venue that you have your eyes on, you should just book it. But everything else falls into place quickly, easily.
Yeah.
It's just the stuff that they need to do.
Right. It
You're-
always
like
is.
you're
It's
putting on an event
always-
with us coming
Yeah.
up. You're doing all of your
Yeah.
decorating and your centerpieces and your planning of that. So that takes a little bit of time. But we have so many props on hand and so much that when they come to us, they don't have to rent anything. We could easily put on their wedding next weekend.
So I was a little worried because, just as someone who watches the news, there was an event that happened about a month ago where there was, at the beginning of wedding season, there was an accident that happened. And I thought, well, what if that shuts down that venue for the whole summer and everybody that had planned that wedding at that
Yeah.
venue, like, where do they go? Because the idea is they are planned out 2 to 3 years, but you say that's
Right.
not necessarily the case all the time.
Well, I'm just saying, you asked how long does it take for the process?
Yeah.
It really, we could, with the staff we have, with the knowledge we have, with the vendor connections we have, it's easy for us to do something very quickly for somebody. But we are booked into 27 and we only have a few more dates for 27. So.
Well, you sound passionate about what you do. Is this what you always wanted to do?
No, I didn't know I wanted to do this until 24 years ago. I wish, though, I so wish that I would have started this right out of college, right out of school. I was an office manager for an OBGYN office at Maine Medical Center.
That's what you went to school for?
No, I went to school for accounting and business and didn't like that at all. And then ended up in the healthcare industry, and then I was there for a while. I don't want to date myself because you're adding 24 plus the other. So I won't say how long I was
I'm
with
bad
that.
at
But
math,
yeah,
so.
okay, good. I am too. My math never maths.
Yeah.
But so I was in a doctor's office for a very long time, and I was doing the insurances, and then it started to suck the life out of me. Boring. Yeah. So I was actually invited to go to up in Acton to the potting shed, which is now Willie's, and that is where my husband and I got married. And so my heart is there. I love the people there, and the family that owned it at the time. They were looking to stop doing events, and they were looking for somebody who was personable and organized. Right. And when they called me, I'm like, I can't cook. Like, I can't do that.
Isn't that weird? We always say what we can't do.
We can't do, yes.
Right?
But
it's never like, I want to do that. I'll figure it out.
I'll figure it out, right? Yeah. I was like scared to death. I'm like, you don't want me up there doing that. I could just, think about feeding. I can barely feed my family of 4. I always have to call my mother, like, hey, Mom, how do I cook this? Hi, Mom, how do I do that? So I went up, and of course I knew Mrs. Smith, because she's just an angel, and she did my wedding. And I was with her for 2 weddings. I fell in love with it. I took over, and then they sold, and then we were kind of doing this, like I said, part-time for a couple of years. And then I had a partner at the time, a business partner, Mary Ann, and we were meeting over here at Aroma Joe's when it was, you could go inside and sit. And there was always this advertisement for the
Upstairs,
town club.
Yeah.
And we kept looking at it and laughing about it. And can you imagine? And, us 2 chicks up there running it. And then we're like, wait a minute. Why are we laughing? Why don't we look into this? And we did. And the landlord at the time was amazing. Let us go in there for a very reasonable rent for a year. And we evolved up there. And then it just keeps going and going and just keeps evolving. So,
Carrie, did you ever go up there?
No, I've heard great things about your parties up there. I guess we used to have our holiday party up there.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my goodness, it was just awesome. I mean, when you stepped off the elevator, it felt like you were in a different.
Thankful to be alive.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. It's like stepping out of the house in Wizard of Oz.
It was that elevator was definitely gave me
such
some
a fear of
headaches. I mean, there were
elevators.
so many events where it broke right before the event, and my staff and I were literally bringing up cases of beer or the food, or it was awful. I think that took some years off my life for sure. But being up there was amazing. It was just a very special place for Sanford.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm lucky that we were part of it.
Would you guys want to bring it back if you could?
We've been called and asked, and
I think it's needed.
That I don't think I have it in me at this,
right. But you
age.
You could find someone that would say, well, I can't cook.
Right. I don't know how to do a lasagna, but I can. But
someone that wants to do it but doesn't think that they can do it.
I think that it worked for us because it was an event space. I think for a restaurant, it didn't work a couple times. Those 2 times before, it was great. But I think that, I got one person that brought 50 people. A restaurant, you need to have all of these individual people always come.
Sure.
And, being an event space, and we put on our own events a lot.
That makes sense.
I think it did very well as an event space. I hear that there's some ideas brewing for it, though. I'm not sure how.
I know nothing. I just want it.
My understanding is that they're working on getting the first floor sort of rented out so that they could work on the floors above.
Yeah. But I think my time is done there.
Yeah.
I as much as I loved it and realized that
people
that
are
location
coming to
grew me, it really turned me into who I am today as a business person and as a business. I think that what we have up on the ridge is something that I want to focus on.
Yeah.
And
I mean, businesses have evolved if they're done correctly.
Right.
Right. And so that's just a good way to show that your success, your following, and like you said, the community.
They've been amazing. Yeah, they've been amazing.
So if you had your wish list of what would you like to do more of or next, or are you just kind of really enjoying exactly where you are right now, which is great?
I am very much enjoying where we are right now. But we do have some more exciting news coming with another collaboration we're doing with another venue in Dayton and an event planning service, a wedding planner. So there'll be 3 of us joining, and we are going to be taking over this venue and we'll be the exclusive caterer. So we'll have the Ridge and this other venue. Which,
hey, you want to do it? You seem like a good business person. Carrie, you can do this too if you want. So Dayton, I want to build a go-kart track in Dayton.
There you
We
go.
call it Speed Dayton.
Speed. That might work.
I just thought of that.
And then once they connect with you, then they
Yeah.
can come over to me
Right.
and get
I'll
married.
build it right on your property.
We'll just see. Yeah.
So you go on your first date at Speed Dayton, and then you end up getting married at the venue. See, we're putting it all
There you
together.
We're putting it all
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
I got to trademark that right now.
Yeah.
How long does it take to get from the Ridge to that venue?
Not long, like 16 minutes.
Oh, great.
Yeah, it's not long at all. So it'll be perfect. I
Yeah.
think we'll have a team there. We'll have a team at the Ridge.
Mm-hmm.
And then we will stay local for a couple other venues that we
Sure.
work out of a lot.
Yeah.
How big is your team right now?
We have 23 people, I believe. 23. And then we're adding on for this coming season. So we have a couple new gals coming on. And so it'll be about 25-ish.
It's quite a ways from a dream, right? A part-time
really is,
dream.
right?
How did you get here?
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. It's just, when we bought the Ridge and then when we built, I've always said that we're just taking a leap of faith. A leap of faith.
Yeah.
And
And that one phone call that changes everything.
right.
Every once in a while, someone saw something in you
Right.
and said, you have these skills,
Right.
but I want you to use them for me and adapt them to what our needs are. But I know you can do it.
Yeah.
Like
having faith in me. I
yeah,
guess, right?
exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and
it's
so
all built
pushing you
on-
into a new, like I said, using those skills, but in a new way. And then you being brave enough to say, okay, I'll try.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's loving what you do.
Yeah.
And man, I love what I do.
Yeah.
I love it. So
Is there a piece of wedding etiquette that you can pass along to regular schmoes like myself that you're like, just please don't do this at my venue? Yeah. Or is there a piece of
Gosh,
wedding etiquette that just drives you, it just makes you grind your teeth?
well, a lot of caterers charge a cake cutting fee. That
Really?
drives me
Oh,
insane.
boy.
It is my honor to cut their wedding cake and serve it to them. But for them, I'm over the burlap and lace.
Yeah.
But if they like the burlap and lace, I love the burlap and lace
Yeah.
for them.
Yeah.
So I don't really think that there's,
Don't throw it away yet.
yeah,
Keep it in your stash.
Keep it in your stash. But I don't think that there's anything that I would say.
Do you bake the cakes or do you have a baker
I
on
do
staff?
not. I use a baker in town.
Yeah.
She has a business in
great.
town, and we use her. We try to use her exclusively when
Oh,
she's
that's
not
wonderful.
booked. But for the most part, we use her, and we do a lot of our own baking though.
Yeah.
like our whoopie pies, our cookies, our
A cake is a whole
but
other
the
beast.
cake,
That's
yeah,
why I was wondering.
I know my limitations. You don't want my cake.
Don't want mine
like,
either.
like leaning
I am
tower
not a
of
good
Pisa.
baker.
Wait a minute. What's the difference between cupcake and a cake?
The difference between a cake.
Yeah. To me, it's all like
I think
cake.
I think cupcakes are lighter. I think a cake is more
Oh,
dense.
yeah. Yeah.
But it's easier for
Plus, you need a
cupcakes.
better
It's easy. My
frosting
staff
ratio.
loves it because we don't have to cut the cake. But as much as we love to cut a cake, it's just we don't have that whole
Then
What do they
process.
charge for that? That
I
seems
think
ridiculous.
it's like per person, it's like a few dollars or so
Per person?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is
And
weird.
probably the throwing of the garter. Oh, etiquette. No smashing the cake.
Yes.
Oh, gosh,
no
no.
smashing
No.
the cake. No, I don't like that at all.
I
I
don't
always
think
tell
people
the
do it
I was going to say, do
anymore.
people even do
They
that anymore?
don't.
I don't
Thank
think
goodness I'm
so.
not involved in that so much. I don't
Yeah.
see much of it.
I never understood
But-
where that came from. Like the guy of like, okay, we're spending a bunch of money on this day. This is an awesome
Yeah.
ceremony between the two of us and a show of our love. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to just try to smash your face with cake.
We're seeing some changes and some new traditions come up, but it's just I want to make it their day.
Yeah.
What they want.
Nice.
So
I think that's a great way to leave it, too. I want to make it their day. Gina Sawtelle, thank you for joining the show today.
Thanks for having me.
We have Carrie Quater from the Sanford Springville Chamber of Commerce as a co-host on the show. My name's Andy Austin. You can find all of this in the on-demand section of the Seacoast Oldies app on the Chamber website. You can also get it as a podcast if you just jumped into this show halfway through. Subscribe to York County Conversations on Spotify, on Apple, and go back and listen to all the different local businesses that we have talked to. And speaking of talking, we'll talk to you next time on York County Conversations.
You've been listening to York County Conversations. For more information about this episode, to be on the show, or become a member of the Chamber, reach out to sanfordchamber.org. That's sanfordchamber.org.